बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। नहमदुहू व नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम। आज का जो डिनर है वो 11th ईयरली डिनर है जो हमारे कम्युनिटी हीरोज़ के लिए हमने किया है। इसमें पुलिस चीफ़, मेयर, एमपीपीज़ और जो है सिटी के लीडर्स और ऑफिसर्स और जितने जो है मोअज़्ज़िज़ हज़रात हैं वो सब शरीक होते हैं सिटी ऑफ मार्कम के और सिटी ऑफ टोरंटो के।
My name is Ehsanullah Ehsan. I am the president for Islamic Society of Markham and executive founding director for this corporation. This is a great event which we hold every year. We invite Chief of Police, his entourage, City of Markham's mayor and some councillors as well, MPs, MPPs, councillors for Markham City, and also Council Generals of Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka and Turkey. So in essence, this is a dinner which we hold in appreciation of the dignitaries, the authorities of the City of Markham who work with us. And we appreciate them. We appreciate them in many ways, but this is a special way of thanking them. We stand in solidarity with them, and the kind of activities and the kind of services they render to this community, we can never pay enough thanks to them. So this is one way of showing them that we care about you as you do care about us.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। ये आज हम सब के लिए बेहद खुशी और मसरत का मकाम है कि ऐसे वक्त जब हमारी पूरी मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी, मुस्लिम उम्मा रमज़ान सेलिब्रेट कर रही है, ऐसे में हमारे इस्लामिक सोसाइटी ऑफ मार्कम ने इस डिनर इफ्तार का एहतमाम किया, जिसमें सारी लोकल अथॉरिटीज़ और डिग्नेटरीज़ यहाँ पर आए हैं और ये बहुत ही इंतहा से ज़्यादा खुशी का मकाम है। मेरी तरफ से और मेरे घर वालों की और फैमिली की तरफ से सबको बहुत रमज़ान की मुबारकबाद। और मैं आवाज़ के वसत से ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये टेलीविज़न अपने लिए जो कम्युनिटी के लिए जो कर रहे हैं ये वाकई एक निहायत काबिल कदर काम है और मैं इनके लिए दुआ कहूँ कि ये दिन दुगनी रात चौगनी तरक्की करें। आमीन। शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत।
It is a privilege, an honor, and a grace for us to have our dignitaries who break fast with us every year, and this year, inshallah, is going to be no exception. This is the 11th year we have been doing this, and I am so honored, so grateful on behalf of our board of directors that that's how you were honored unto us in coming here. And it is with great appreciation that we welcome you all. I'm quite excited today to welcome all these fast friends from York Regional Police Department, City of Markham, Markham Fire Department, principal and vice principals from the Middlefield Collegiate. We developed friendship a year and a half ago with Ellie. Ellie, we honor you here. We'd like you and your principals, vice principals to be among us, and we cherish that. Because you look after our progeny, you look after our youth, and you're doing a great job. Council Generals of India will be here, Pakistan and Turkey. Our ex-Speaker of the House, Dr. Alan Curry, with his better half. And I'm so honored to tell you, Dr. Curley, in spite of his busy schedule, I called him only yesterday. He is a friend of ours. He accepted. And he said, Ehsan, don't you worry about it. I will be there. Dr. Curley, thank you. We will have here, or have, current members of the Parliament and the Interior Legislature, including very appreciating Markham community members, and that is all of you. There is nothing possible, my respected congregations, brothers and sisters, which would happen without you. You are the base for all of our success. And I thank you all for participating today. And I hope, inshallah, we all will have a wonderful time with among us for the next few hours or so, including a fabulous, a great dinner you will enjoy. Caribbean is hosting it, and our one of our directors, Wazir Khan is a director who is newly elected last year, and this is the guy to contend with. The guy does not stop day in, day out. He takes on responsibilities, and he told me, he said, "Hassan uncle, we are going to have Caribbean food, but we like to honor our guests with some Indian touch in there." And he said, "I'm sure our chief can use some spice in life. So chief, you will have that today." Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ihsan. I'm the Executive Founding Director and Chair for the Board of Directors for Islamic Society of Markham. And I welcome you all in April. So, Chief, you are used to Sufi Rafiq Patel from Blackburn, United Kingdom. We are going to give you a mufti. Mufti is one step above an alim. And it is a great pleasure, as a matter of fact, to introduce that mufti to you. We hired him 2 years ago or so. And if I can find my page, I will be able to. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct pleasure, honor, a privilege to introduce our resident Mufti, Mufti Zishan.
Brother Ihsan was being great, way too kind, which is like, الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين.
Abraham is a very prominent, important figure within the Islamic religion, as he is within the faith of our brothers and sisters within the Jewish community as well as the Christian community. The verse that I just recited in the beginning highlights an incident from the life of Abraham. And my hope is to tie this all in, inshallah, in a manner which makes sense. As we learn about Abraham in the Quran, he is someone who is considered the father of our faith as well. God says, Millata abikum Ibrahim. Right? We are the followers of the nation of our father, who is Abraham. As we know, the Prophet Muhammad comes from the legacy and the progeny of Abraham. We know Abraham had 2 sons, right? Ishmael and Isaac. The Prophet Muhammad comes from the legacy and the lineage of Ishmael. So that was a little background, brief background on Abraham within the Islamic faith. But the verse I recited in front of you was a verse in which God is reminding the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet Muhammad, when Abraham was commanded by God to travel towards the Arabian Peninsula, specifically Mecca, at a time where there was no life there. Right? There was no civilization there. And he was told by God to drop his family off there and return back to Syria. And he left his beloved wife, Hagar, as well as his son, who was still in his infancy, by the command of God. He left them in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a desert, right? But he had planted the seeds for a future generation to come. Right? On a side note, the Arabian Peninsula, Mecca, was actually built on the back of a woman. Right? Hagar actually remained there while her husband, Abraham, migrated back to Syria. But the city itself was built on the back of that blessed woman, which tells us a lot about our communities as well, right? No matter where you are in the world, right? Our sisters, our mothers need to understand that our societies will be built upon their backs as well, right? Our societies will also be built on the backs of our mothers as well. But Abraham leaves his family in the middle of the desert, and he begins to return. But as he returns, he makes a prayer. And that prayer is what I wanted to highlight today. He says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon you. Remember when Abraham made that prayer. And what was the prayer of Abraham? رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. O Allah, O God, make this nation, make this city, this town, make it a town that has security and peace, and let it have prosperity. Now, academics and scholars of the Quran have commentated in respect to this verse. Why did Abraham ask for these two specific things? Number one was peace and security, and number two was prosperity. We understand the success of any nation is built on these two things, right? The success of any nation is built on two things: their peace and security, as well as their prosperity. But then scholars go forward and they ask the question, why did he mention aman, peace and security first, and then prosperity? And the answer to that is, you can never enjoy prosperity and wealth unless you are blessed with the gift of security and peace. Without the gift of security and peace, we will never be able to enjoy prosperity. And through these verses, Abraham reminded everyone that the greatest gift that you and I can be given in a society is the gift of peace and security. And that supersedes the gift of prosperity. Because without peace and security, right, even the gifts that we have, the eyes that we hold, the tongues that we have, the ears that we listen with, right, all the gifts and bounties that have been bestowed upon us, none of these can be enjoyed if we don't have peace and security. You talk about people who are in war-stricken countries, who have the gift of sight, but they can't really enjoy that sight if they're looking at people being killed and murdered every single day, right? To benefit from any of the gifts of God is only possible if we have peace and security. With that being said, the Prophet Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us, "Lam yashkurillah man lam yashkurin nas." He who does not show gratitude to the creation of God does not show gratitude to God. In other words, if we want to thank God for the peace and security that every single one of us, regardless of faith, we enjoy, if we want to thank God for the peace and security that every one of us enjoy, well, that begins by thanking and showing appreciation and gratitude towards that creation which enables us to have peace and security on this planet. And we tip our hats to our law enforcement, because of whom we are able to bring our children to the mosque. We are able to enjoy our lives at parks. We are able to go to sleep at night comfortably with the thought that we can wake up in the morning without any bombs being bombarded upon us. So it is our duty and our responsibility today that if we want to show gratitude to God for the peace and security that we, as the citizens of Canada, enjoy, well, it begins by us showing appreciation and gratitude to those individuals who serve this community day in and day out, those brave men and women who every single day put their lives on the line so that we can have peace and security today in this country. Right? Thank you. And as you guys clap, that clapping is not for what I said. It's actually a clap for those individuals who protect our country, protect our city, protect our nation, not only the law enforcement, but those individuals who are fighting to defend our country as well. Right? Some of the gifts that we have been bestowed, I guess we will never understand it until we are taken out of our environment. And I'll leave with a few reminders for us all. Being a child of this community, born and raised in the city of Scarborough, I got an opportunity to study abroad in another part of the world. But studying there, I realized many things, and amongst those things is, subhanAllah, what a great country we live in, right? Right? The peace and security, the things that we enjoy. I would tell my kids often, right? They were part of my legacy in studying in India. But I remember studying in India, we could never drink out of the taps. And I would always remind my kids that you are blessed to live in a country like we do, where you can actually open up the tap and drink right from the tap. Right? I know it's a small thing, right? But we won't realize the gifts that we have been given until you travel the world and see, right, where other people are lacking, right? Things that they don't have. So we should, again, on this day, we have gathered again to show appreciation to our law enforcement, to the fire department, people who are constantly struggling and striving to make sure that we can have a better life here in Canada. And I am honored to be in your presence, and I am thankful that you accepted our invitation to join us today to break bread with us on this blessed day of Ramadan, a day when we have billions of Muslims fasting around the world. For you to be part of that, it is truly an honor, and I am humbled that your presence is here. I thank you again, and we cannot thank you enough. But I will say one more time, thank you for your company today. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have a very competent person with me, one of our younger directors, Saqib Sheikh. Saqib Sheikh is born and raised in Markham, dedicated to this masjid since very long, and the community decided to bring him up as a director, so we elected him last year. He has a bachelor in marketing. He runs our two major committees. One is public relations, and the other one is education. I would ask Saqib Sheikh to please stand up and take a bow, please. Saqib Sheikh. John McCallum was a great guy. He was a friend of not only the Muslim community, he was a friend of communities. And we cherished his presence in the city of Markham. He came to our mosque many a times, and he did a lot for the community, and we can never thank him enough. His office has been great to us, and we are grateful to them. But when he went to China as an ambassador, a lady came onto horizon. A lady who is very competent and charming indeed, dependable, communication master, and has one thing at her heart, and that is public service. She is a member of the parliament, of course, for Markham Thornhill area, elected in 2017. She is a devoted community leader who has always believed in the power of public service. With 20 years of experience behind her in the areas of education, women's leadership, job creation, and entrepreneurship, she is committed to working with Justin Trudeau to grow and strengthen our middle class, and she understands what it takes to create new, well-paying jobs for families in the cities of Markham and Thornhill. Ladies and gentlemen, I can present you none other than the best in town, Mary Ng. It's
wonderful to be here again. This This is the second time that I was here, and you know, today is a very special day. I knew that John would always make the effort to come here for today's special event, so that he and now I am able to break fast with the community. So it's wonderful to be here. And earlier in the day, right up until at question period, when you know, I kept checking my email as I do every day, because at this time of the year, when it's very busy in Parliament, we're always told, members of Parliament, that we must stay put and that we're not allowed to leave because we have to be there to vote. So I had said to the whip earlier, I said, listen, vote as there may be, but I have an event I must get to. My community depends on it, and I'm getting on that plane, vote or no vote. So the good thing was that there was no vote, which was wonderful, and I had something in my back pocket. Isan had talked about the wonderful John McCallum. John made it here every year, and there were votes then too. So if I got pushed a little hard, I would have said, well, guess what? I can't break a record that is 11 years strong. Surely you don't want me as a new member of Parliament to not come to the Islamic Society of Markham for their iftar dinner, now would you? So I didn't quite have to do that because there wasn't a vote, but all that is to say is that I'm very, very pleased to be here and very grateful that there weren't any plane delays or anything like that. So, so thank you for having me. And before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered here on the traditional territory of the Islamic and the Mississaugas of the New Credit. I'm so pleased to be joined here by so many of our collaborators, our partners at the different levels of government who are seated here. Minister Helena Jasic, of course, our new candidate, Juanita Nathan, and others who are here, and of course, the Chief of Police and the police force. It's wonderful to be here with you all today, and I know that others at the city level are all going to be here and joining us a little later, so thank you so much, and I'm honored to be a part of this event and to reflect with all of you about the importance of the holy month of Ramadan. Canadians in communities across the country are observing Ramadan and honoring the traditions this month, including those right here in our community of Markham Thornhill. To everyone here and all those who are celebrating elsewhere in our community, in our country, around the world, I want to say Ramadan Mubarak. I have had the great privilege of working with and learning from the leaders right here in Markham's Muslim community. I've had the good fortune of attending celebratory events, being a part of reflective moments where community comes together to bond. I've seen the importance of creating space for more compassion right here in our community, for reflection, and for more understanding among all of our groups in our society. One example that comes to my mind is, which I want to share with you, is the really good work that your community, and right here, the Islamic Society of Markham, came to me many months ago. And they talked to us about, and your board, Isan, you and the board and others talked to me about the importance of the government needing to act and to support and deal with the crisis that was emerging and happening in Rohingya. And I'm very pleased that with, with the work that took place here, with the discussions I was able to have with your leadership, that you were instrumental at helping me convey a really important message to my colleagues in the government of, in the government of Canada, the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, so that we were able to respond and that the community was able to respond to the situation that was happening in Rohingya at that time. So the coming together and the learning from the leaders in Markham and the Muslim community here in Markham, I want to thank you for working with me, because I really do appreciate that. And our community, of course, is enriched by our diversity, and it's made better by the work that our community members undertake to make Markham Thornhill a really great place that we all call home. Our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, has said that Canadians are strong, not despite of our differences, but particularly because of our differences. And I know that to be especially true right here in Markham. So I want to thank you, Ihsan, as the chair of the board, and to all of the board members and directors at the Islamic Society of Markham for bringing everyone together tonight. And I always like to do this because my very good friend Khalid Usman is a wonderful friend, and whenever I have the podium, I always, and particularly tonight, I want to say, Ramadan Mubarak, Khalid. Before I conclude, I want to read something very special, because I said to you earlier, I was in the House of Commons just a few short hours ago, and sitting right across from me as I gave him a nice big wave was our Prime Minister, and he knew that I was coming here today to deliver these greetings. As you know, I had a back pocket strategy in case there was votes, but I want to read to you a statement that I bring on behalf of our Prime Minister for you here tonight. It is with great pleasure that I join with Muslims in Canada and around the world to mark the start of Ramadan. Ramadan is a sacred time of the year for the Muslim community and commemorates the revealings of the Quran to Prophet Muhammad. The month-long journey of fasting and prayer encourages spiritual growth, reflection, and compassion for those who are less fortunate. Ramadan is also a time of community when Muslims gather with family and friends to pray and share iftar, the evening meal. For all of us, Ramadan is a reminder to appreciate the many gifts that are given and to give seriously to others and generously to others in our communities and around the world. On behalf of our family, Sophie and I extend our best wishes to the Muslim communities here in Canada and around the world. Ramadan Mubarak, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. Thank you very much. Ihsan, I'm going to leave you with the Prime Minister's gift.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much.
Guest. She is a Liberal member of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario who was elected in 2007 provincial election and subsequently re-elected in 2011 and 2014. She is the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care in Ontario. She's also the Chair of the Cabinet. Representing the riding of Oak Ridges Markham, I'd like to welcome Dr. Helena Jacek, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. Good evening, everyone. I'm just so delighted to have received this invitation to join you here this evening during the blessed month of Ramadan and to break the fast with you this evening. As has been said, I have been the Member of Provincial Parliament now for over 10 years in what was the riding of Oak Ridges Markham, which is a very, very diverse community, 4 municipalities, and it has been a pleasure to get to know members of the Muslim community, particularly in Stouffville and here in Markham. As you know, as the Mufti said, we are so lucky to live in this community where perhaps we celebrate different traditions. We come from so many diverse backgrounds, but we know at the end of the day that we fundamentally are all the same. We want the very best for our families. We want our children to grow up healthy. We want to contribute to society. And so we have something very unique here, I think, in Ontario, where we live in peace and harmony together. And so, as you all know, there is a provincial election on the horizon on June the 7th. And I remember John McCallum, since we're talking about John McCallum today, I remember at one citizenship ceremony something that John said, which really struck home to me. We here in Canada, when you become a Canadian citizen, you are completely equal to every other citizen. That means whether you came a few years ago and became a Canadian citizen, or whether your family was here for 5 generations, we are all equal. And that is a fundamental thing about Canadian citizenship. And so we all have the same rights and responsibilities of citizenship, and one of those most foremost ones is to vote. So I would ask you all, particularly those of you who live in my new riding of Markham Stouffville, and of course if you're supporters of the Liberal Party, I would invite you to come to my campaign office to talk about the election, and perhaps if you can volunteer or anything like that, I would be only too grateful. I'm sure, as you know, that this election is a very important one. All elections are important ones. But I think there is a very clear choice to be made on June the 7th. And I would simply like to say, I would like to continue the conversation that I have with my constituents. It has, I think, been 10 years for me of tremendous interest in getting to know my constituents and serving them as best as I possibly can to ensure that we have all the services that we all need. Thank you so much.
I'd like to invite Logan Kanapati to address the congregation and bless us with some wisdom.
Assalamu alaikum. Happy Ramadan for each and everyone. And I'm very delighted to be here, and thank you for your invitation. I'm here not as a VIP or politician. I'm here as your brother. You know, this community and this area is the closest to my heart. Not only being a counselor, I lived here. I raised my 3 children, my family, and my wife have a clinic, and this is close to my heart. And this is a special day, and we have been celebrating Ramadan, and Ramadan is a reminder of so many things, and the humanity, and Imam is talk about and peace and security. We're living in a correct country, it's a peace and security, and so many countries are still trying to get the peace and security with the justice. We want the peace and security with the justice, and that's the peace and security, and with the justice we are enjoying each and every day this country. I had to say a couple of things, and before I do my closing remarks. Most of the religious philosophy teach us the love and integrity form the basis of leadership. And you know the leaders from community leaders or political leaders are here. The community leaders are here from firefighters and York Regional Police. The world is dying for the great leaders to bring the peace and harmony, not to putting one community against each other, or one continent against each other, or one country against each other. And I think it's a day like here, or special occasion like Ramadan, it teaches us so many moral values to us. We learned so many things the last couple of weeks, how we can, first of all, love one another. That's important things. How we can look after one another. The more than anything else, how we can lift up one another, regardless about what color we are, where we come from, what language we speak, or what religious we practice. End of the day is a humanity count. That's what is the Quran all about, what the Ramadan is all about.
Our next guest is she's a trustee for the York Region School District School Board. She's also the candidate for the Liberal Party at the upcoming provincial election. I'd like to invite Juanita Nathan, please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I want to wish you all a Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for inviting me here today. And thank you to my good friend Khalid Usman for introducing me to so many new friends here. And I know everyone here is ready to break their fast, so I promise to keep this very short. There are many of you here tonight that I've had the pleasure of meeting while I stand outside and shake your hands on Fridays. and many whom I have not yet met. My name is Juanita Nathan. I'm running as your Liberal candidate for the next member of Provincial Parliament here in Markham, Thornhill. I have served as your school board trustee on behalf of your families and your kids for the last 8 years. I'm an immigrant, just like many of yourselves and a lot of Markham. And I have spent the better part of my life devoted towards creating safe and prosperous environment for our seniors, our youth, and our families. I would like to say that I'm a community-focused and very approachable, but I will let you see that for yourselves. First, I want to comment on the tragedy in Palestine that happened last week. It's very close to my heart. I feel for your Muslim brothers and sisters on the other side of the world. Many years ago, my families and I fled home country because of conflict there, and they were led to persecution of minorities. I want to echo Prime Minister Trudeau's call for an investigation into what happened there and more, because there's no excuse for use of force like that, just like Mary was alluding to. Ramadan is a time for reflection, for joy, and for charity, not for tragedies like last Monday. It's time when Muslims recommit themselves to their faith, gathering with friends, families, and community to break fast together, pray together, and give to charities. It's a reminder of one's duty to each other, to serve one and another, and provide help to those less fortunate. In honoring these values together of peace and charity and forgiveness, we state that whatever our faith, we are all one family. We must stand together and against Islamophobia and all forms of hate. And I want to be your representative to provide that help, that charity, that service to stand up for you and your family here in Markham Thornhill. I want to be able to help you in any way I can, but first I need your support. This mosque is in the riding of Markham Thornhill, the riding where I am running to be your next member of Provincial Parliament. So please, to everyone that lives here in Markham Thornhill, I need your support. This election is important as other countries around the world and other parties in this province are calling for closing our world and closing our minds. We Liberals value our diversity, we value our immigrants, and we value our Muslim brothers and sisters. The Liberal government has a proven track record in combating Islamophobia and other forms of hate. We need to create a Markham that is fair for everyone. In a province where everyone is welcome, where there's no room for those who spread hate. Please come out to vote. There are voting stations all over the riding. June 7th may be a holy night, so please come out and vote early during the advanced voting time. Early voting at the advanced polls open from this May 26th to May 30th at Armadale Community Center and Milliken Mills Community Center. And please come out to volunteer. I want you to be part of our campaign. Our campaign office is open all day, every day, so please come out and talk to me or visit our website. Thank you for letting me speak here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juanita. We wish you all and all the candidates the very best in the upcoming election. And I also like to say that, just to kind of reiterate what was said earlier, that this is our responsibility. And in fact, this is a privilege for each and every Canadian that we are able to vote. So I'm a strong advocate of this fact that, unfortunately, a lot of communities, they don't come out and vote. So it's very important that we do come out and we have our voices heard. And the only way we can have our voice heard is actually through at the ballot box. So with that, I would like to also acknowledge that the Consulate General of Sri Lanka, Mohammed Johar, He is here amongst us. He has blessed us with his auspicious presence. We thank you very much for giving your... Well, I thought my job will be cut short, but our very good friend has just walked through the door, so we might as well just have him pointed towards the podium. The Minister of Training, Colleges and Universities, and the Minister of Research and Innovation. He is currently the Minister of Research, Innovation and Science in the province of Ontario. The Member of Provincial Parliament, I'd like to introduce Honorable Mr. Reza Moridi.
Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and honor to be here this evening with my elected colleagues and His Excellency Consul General, and the Minister Jasek is here, I can see, and MP Mary Ng, Chief Jolliffe, and of course former Speaker of the Ontario Parliament, former MPP Alvin Curling, and the many familiar faces, and of course my good friend Khalid Osman and Dr. Nadr Sadiqi, and the many familiar faces in this room. As I've been introduced as the MPP for Richmond Hill since 2011, I had the pleasure and the honor to serve in the Cabinet for the past 5 years as Minister for Training, Colleges, Universities, and the Minister for Research, Innovation and Science. February 25th of 2016, I consider as the highlights of my day in politics. That is the day when the Ontario Legislature passed the legislation to make university and college education free for students coming from low-income families. And this year, 230,000 students, our young people, they are studying in our universities and colleges without paying a single cent for their education. Education in our province of Ontario is now open for every young person who is graduating high school. It's based on the desire of the person to study, not the ability of the person to pay. Investments in our, yes please, investments in our, yes, go ahead. Investments in people of Ontario is the best investment, as the Premier often says, any government, and indeed our government, can make. Because it's the people who build the country. It's the people who make things happen. It's not buildings, it's not factories, it's not, highways or subways. Actually, those things, again, were built by us, by humans, by people. So investments in the education of the people is the best investments we can make. And that's why we are investing in people of Ontario from the moment they are born up to the moment they will leave this world. In terms of their health care, Minister Jasek, who is the Minister of Health for Ontario, actually, she's half of the Ontario government. In terms of budget, at least more than half. We are introducing free medication for every person from the moment that person is born up to the age of 25. And for any seniors, 65 and above. Access to medication is the right of every human being, and we need to even expand this to the age between 25 and 65. There are so many other things, but I don't want to take your time at this moment. Just again, thank you very much for having me here. God bless everyone, and may Almighty Allah accept your prayers and your ruzeh. Thank you. Amen.
We have a few regrets though. Markham Fire Department, Chief Dave Decker is not here. We will miss him certainly. We tried to get in touch with him now. He's in a meeting with the city. And also Chief Adam Grant is not here. But we are very fortunate to have Chief Chris Nearing with us, the Chief Deputy Fire. So if you can please come and say a few words.
Thank you, Hassan. I almost feel bad standing up here in front of you now with a sheet of paper in my hand when I find out that someone has memorized the entire Quran before the age of 11. I just find that incredible. And I seen another one of our brothers up here with an iPhone, noticed reciting a verse from the Quran from the iPhone, and I'm not even going to attempt that because I'm sure I can't make the font large enough to see. I would like to pass on our Chief Decker's regrets for being here. I know, I see the sign says 11 years. The chief's been either the fire chief or the deputy fire chief for 10 years, and I believe he hasn't missed one yet. He had intended to come, but then as you've heard already tonight, there's been a special meeting called DSC meeting with some issues that are very important to him, and he delegated the task to address you here tonight to me, and I'm very thankful for that. So I'd like to begin by saying Assalamu alaikum. I'm here attending on my own today. I look around, I see a lot of my brothers from the police force, my sisters, brothers and sisters from the police force. I'm attending alone, but that's okay because I feel like I'm surrounded by friends. It's my third time coming here now. My first time was back in May of 2016. And I attended with Deputy Fire Chief Phil Alexander that year and Chief Decker. And Phil Alexander tried to express to me one of the benefits of his job was attending events like this, getting to know the community, and learning about the cultures that make our city just incredible. And he was true when he said those words. But what struck me the most that night was the generosity of the Muslim community in Markham. Now, I've been a Markham resident for 20 plus years, and I've served with the fire department for 24 years. And I really wasn't aware of how much that the Muslim community has woven itself into the fabric of the city of Markham. Now, I turn around and I see the 11th annual Ramadan dinner for everyday community heroes. Well, I think I'm staring at a lot of everyday heroes in front of me here tonight, not just the men and women in uniform, not just the public servants that serve us on all levels of government, and the people who hold the most respected positions in your church, but I see a lot of everyday heroes around you. I want to commend you and let you know that as a Markham resident and the Deputy Fire Chief, I find that very inspiring. Markham is a diverse and inclusive city, and it's a city that fosters a desire to build respect for each other's beliefs and traditions, but recognizes we are actually more alike than different. That's another benefit of getting to attend these events. We're all just the same kind of people. We're lucky to be Canadians. My father was an immigrant to this country, and my grandfather on my other side was an immigrant to this country, and it's been an incredible experience to be part of this country, to be part of this community. So Markham Fire Emergency Services, 292 women and men, working hard every day to provide excellent fire education, fire prevention, and emergency responses when called upon. And you should also know that the women and men of Markham's Fire and Emergency Services share the same sense of respect and community service that each and every one of you do. We are community partners, and only working together can we make our community a safer place. So on behalf of Chief Decker and the members of the Markham Fire and Emergency Services, we are grateful to be invited to celebrate with you tonight, and we pledge to continue to provide the services that protect those who live, work, worship, and play in the city of Markham safe. Thank you very much.
We don't have a lot of time, and I'm going to rush our few of the guests now. First of all, I'd like to recognize the Consul General of Turkey. Thank you very much, very kind of you coming. I cannot do away with Alan Curley standing up and taking a bow from the community. Dr. Alan Curley, thank you very much. Since we don't have a lot of time, I'd like to recognize a person here today. And this is one person, and I say to all of you and to him that his mother gave him to this world for the community. He is born to serve the community. He is loved by one and all. He has raised millions and millions of dollars for the Muslim community. He is an honorary director of Islamic Society of Markham. And I'm just going to read you what I wrote in his honor. In appreciation for your 20+ years of outstanding, sincere, and dedicated friendship with Islamic Society of Markham, our both masajid, we thank you and indeed take pride in befriending you. The Institute of Islamic Society of Markham will be forever grateful for your sincere friendship, boundless creativity, shared insight, and gentle guidance. So this is on behalf of the Board of Directors of Islamic Society of Markham, Khalid Usman. There is no second person in this world who has dedicated his life to the Muslim cause. Khalid Usman.
Assalamu alaikum. My dear brothers and sisters, I love surprises, but this was a real surprise. I am honored and I am grateful to be recognized by one of my, I guess, favorite organizations. I have many, many recognitions, but this one is the best. This one is going to go right close to my heart in my office because I think it means a lot. It means a lot because it is being given by the community, and to me that is more important. And you know, all over the years, I've worked with almost every one of you, but it is so heartening to see that people are involved. Communities are made by involvement. And I think tonight's message that I've heard from everyone, it's very clear that we as citizens of Canada have a responsibility. A responsibility to take care of our country, a responsibility because now that we are in the midst of an election, just make sure, does not matter which party you support, but just make sure you go out and vote. Next week is advance poll. Just make sure that you are out. And one last message is from our Mayor, Frank Scapia. I just got his message that unfortunately his meeting is prolonging. He gives his very best to all of you. He has never missed his presence here, but tonight, unless somehow miracle happens, the vote that didn't happen, and then it happens in the city of Markham, he will come by, otherwise he will not be able to join you.
Thank you very much. December 13, 2010 was the day, it was a shiny day. It was a day Markham will never forget. We are so proud of the fact that our chief top cop came in to serve the city of Markham. Eric Jollife's introduction pages are so many, I do not or I cannot afford to spend that much time. I'd rather like to hear directly from the mouth of the horse, our top cop, Chief Eric Jolliffe.
Isan, thank you very much, and you're standing on my shoulder. I think you're going to be like the hook, because I think you're getting close to prayers and breaking fast, I suspect. It's always a pleasure on behalf of the men and women of York Regional Police to be here. Imam, thank you very much for those kind words. Thank you so much. And I know that my good English Imam would be here, but he was probably tied up at a royal wedding of some sort. So thank you again very much for your kind words about first responders and the work they do in community. it's a real pleasure, as I said, to be here and also to be with honored guests. I must confess that I have what I would consider two honored guests. Those are my employer, Khalid Usman, who's on the board, of the Police Services Board, and Bangu Zhang for being here too. I'm seeing them tomorrow morning, and I know that if I didn't make a comment, I might hear about that. But it's always a pleasure to be here and break fast with you. I've been coming to the mosque here for probably 20 years, and for all of the 11 that you have been hosting this event, I must admit that you have really stepped up your game this year. I'm very impressed. Now we got China, so this is very, very cool. Thank you for those efforts. I'd also like to share, I had this really unique opportunity in early April, and that is to go to Turkey and then followed that by going to Pakistan for a week. And I can tell you the hospitality that myself and Sergeant Paul Chang received was second to none. We were treated immensely with great dignity and honor. I had the opportunity to speak at leaders in Islamabad, so I was the only Canadian speaker of a conference. There were some 800 people at the conference. And my whole dissertation basically was around the importance of building community trust. And the reason why I say that is because the reason why York, and you've heard me say this before, the reason why York Region is the safest community of its size in Canada is because of two things. First of all, the great folks that work for you every single day, the police officers in this community. But the second thing is the fact that we have so many community partners. And you are one of those great community partners that we are able to share in doing our work in community, and you must be commended for that. And when you have great community partners, you have great things that happen. And as I say, York Region, and I've said this as I told you many times before, is the safest community of its size in this country, and that goes to great community partners. And again, I want to thank you very much for honoring us here tonight. Also inviting us to break fast, and wish you all the best for the holy month of Ramadan. Thank you.
Chief, you precisely when to finish. Chief, you are a great friend. Thank you. People are starving and you let them go now.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Juanita Nathan. I am your Liberal candidate for Markham Thornhill. Provincial elections coming up on June the 7th, and hoping everybody who lives in Markham Thornhill, which is Steeles to 407 and Rouge River to Bayview, could come out and vote for the Liberals on June the 7th. I know this is a time for charity and joy, and for all the Muslims around the world to recommit to their faith, get together with their families and friends and the community to break fast, pray, and be joy. Ramadan Mubarak.
Hi there, it's Mary Ng, and I'm the Member of Parliament for Markham Thornhill. Assalamu alaikum, and I want to wish everyone a wonderful Ramadan Mubarak, to the wonderful people here in Markham Thornhill. It's so wonderful to be here at the Islamic Society of Markham, where we were able to celebrate this beautiful iftar dinner. I also want to say that at this time of the year, we are also here in Markham Thornhill at a time of the provincial election. And I know how important it is to have good, strong representation. I'm proud to be the federal member for Markham Thornhill, and I would encourage everyone to make sure that they come out and cast a ballot and vote on June the 7th in your provincial election. Ramadan Mubarak, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Reza Muridi. I am the candidate for the riding of Richmond Hill. I have been serving people of Richmond Hill for the past 11 years as their member of provincial parliament, and I want to ask every resident of Richmond Hill to vote for me in this upcoming election. Also, I want to take this opportunity to say Happy Ramadan to all Muslims of the GTA and indeed our province of Ontario, as we all are fasting in this holy month of Ramadan. So thank you very much. Tashakkur.
My name is Logan Kanapadi, councillor for this area. It's a privilege to be a councillor for this area last 12 years. I'm also Ontario PC candidate for this wonderful riding called Markham Thornhill riding. And I'm very delighted to be here on this holy Ramadan event, and I wish you a happy Ramadan. And to my Muslim brothers and sisters, you know, the Quran teaches us so many good things. You know, the Quran is a reminder us to how we can be compassionate to the human world through the fasting. You know, this is a great message that you can send it to the humanity. I often say the humanity is beyond the color, beyond the religion, beyond the ethnic barriers. We have to say we love one another, we have to look after one another, and we have to help each other. That's what Quran is all about. Happy Ramadan, and wish you all the best to my Muslim brothers and sisters.
My dear brothers and sisters, today we are gathered here for Islamic Society of Markham, और ये एक हमारा एनुअल इवेंट है जिसमें एक रोज़ा कुशाई होती है, और जितने गवर्नमेंट के सीनियर पुलिस हो गए, फायर हो गए, काउंसलर्स हो गए, मेयर हो गया, अपने मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट फेडरल एंड प्रोविंशियल, तो वी इनवाइट ऑल ऑफ देम. द रीज़न इज़ कि भाई वो भी आएँ, पार्टिसिपेट करें, एंड दे शुड नो कि भाई व्हाट आवर कम्युनिटी इज़ ऑल अबाउट. तो दिस इज़ द बेस्ट वे टू इंटरेक्ट. तो आज बड़ा अच्छा रहा, बड़ा ज़बरदस्त किस्म का शो हुआ कि काफ़ी सारे लोग आ गए और उन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया, और फिर यहाँ कुछ काउंसिल जनरल्स भी हैं हमारे साथ. तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि वी आर एबल टू पास ऑन आवर मैसेज ऑफ कम्युनिटी, ऑफ यूनिटी, ऑफ ऑल्सो safety and security that we believe we as community are offering. So आज मैं सबको मुबारकबाद देता हूँ, और आज रमज़ान है, जिन जिन लोगों ने रोज़ा रखा उनको भी मुबारकबाद. और ये है कि इंशाअल्लाह ताला ऐसे कई हम करते रहेंगे, और आपकी सपोर्ट रही तो खुदा वल से आवर कम्युनिटी विल बी पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन दीज थिंग्स. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. गॉड ब्लेस यू. खुदा हाफिज़.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem. My name is Shabir Chawala, और रमज़ान करीम टू एवरीबडी. मैं मार्कम में रहता हूँ और आज बहुत ही बेहतरीन दिन है. सारे MPs आए हैं, MPPs आए हैं, और यहाँ हम इफ्तार कर रहे हैं. ये हालांकि this is the 11th annual Ramadan dinner that we are having over here in Markham मस्जिद में, और काफ़ी गैदरिंग है यहाँ हुई है, और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है क्योंकि रमज़ान का महीना यही होता है कि इफ्तारी हम लोगों को बुलाए और इफ्तारी करें और लोगों को इफ्तारी करवाए. और यही एक चीज़, एक आज का दिन है जो हम मार्खम मस्जिद में हर साल करते आए हुए. तो बहुत ही खुशी हो रही है, बहुत ही अच्छा जश्न ये हो रहा है. और बेसिक यही एक सुन्ना हम जो कर रहे हैं, बेसिक रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सुन्नत. दूसरी चीज़ है कि मेरा नाम शब्बीर चवाल है. मैं मार्खम में वार्ड 7 काउंसलर की तरह खड़ा रहा हूँ. म्यूनिसिपल इलेक्शन जो आ रहा है अक्टूबर में, उम्मीद है कि आप मुझे सपोर्ट करेंगे, उम्मीद है कि आप वोट करेंगे. मैं वार्ड 7 के लिए खड़ा होऊंगा मार्खम में, और वो म्यूनिसिपल इलेक्शन होगा अक्टूबर में, ताकि मैं आपका वोट, आपकी आवाज़ म्यूनिसिपलिटी के तक ले जाऊँ. तो उम्मीद है इंशाअल्लाह आप मुझे सपोर्ट करेंगे. मेरा नाम शब्बीर चवाल है. जज़ाकल्लाह. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. खुदा हाफ़िज़.